The ultimatum. The hegemony ship entered Earth's orbit with the quiet confidence of a predator that had never known defeat. Its obsidian hull absorbed sunlight rather than reflected it, a void against the stars that seemed to devour hope itself. For 8,000 cycles, the galactic hegemony had expanded across the stars, incorporating one primitive spacefaring civilization after another into their empire, some through diplomacy, most through force, but all ultimately through subjugation. Earth was simply the next world on a very long list. Commander Elena Velas stood in the United Earth Defense Force headquarters beneath Mount Yamato, watching the real-time footage of the massive vessel as it positioned itself in high orbit. Unlike the politicians and generals around her who fidgeted and whispered anxiously, her expression remained calm, almost expectant. "It's bigger than our simulations predicted," General Hammond said, his weathered face tight with concern. Elena nodded. "But exactly where we anticipated. They're following the same playbook they've used for thousands of years." "Are we certain?" President Okafor asked, her voice steady despite the unprecedented situation. "Everything rides on our intelligence being correct." "Madam President," Elena replied, "we've spent 15 years studying their patterns since we first detected their communications network. The hegemony is nothing if not consistent. They believe their methods are infallible because they've never failed." The massive view screen flickered as the hegemony vessel broadcast its message. An alien figure appeared, tall and slender with multifaceted eyes that gleamed with bioluminescent light. The Archon's exoskeleton was adorned with intricate markings that denoted its high rank within the hegemony hierarchy. "People of Earth," the translation software rendered its clicking speech into English. "I am Grand Archon Vex Mora of the Galactic Hegemony, sovereign power of the 27 sectors. Your species has been monitored since your first radio transmissions. Your recent achievement of rudimentary interplanetary travel qualifies you for incorporation into our domain." President Okafor straightened in her chair. This was the moment 15 years of secret preparations had anticipated. "The terms are non-negotiable," the Archon continued. "Earth will provide annual tribute of resources, technology, and conscripts for our expansion efforts. In exchange, you receive our protection and limited access to our trade networks. A delegation will arrive in your governmental center in 12 of your hours to receive your formal submission. Resistance is futile and historically unprecedented." The screen went dark. "Arrogant bastard," Hammond muttered. Elena checked her tactical display. "They're deploying a smaller shuttle. Estimated touchdown in Washington, D.C. in exactly 12 hours, as promised." President Okafor turned to the assembled leaders. "Proceed with Operation Trojan. Commander Velas, you have your orders." Elena nodded, already moving toward the exit. "My team is ready, Madam President. We won't fail." 12 hours later, the hegemony delegation landed on the White House lawn with a theatrical display of power. Their shuttle's engines released a harmless but impressive plasma discharge that scorched the perfectly manicured grass in a perfect circle. 3 hegemony officials emerged, led by a lesser Archon whose carapace bore fewer markings than the Grand Archon, but whose arrogance was no less apparent. The world watched as President Okafor greeted them with appropriate diplomatic courtesy, leading them into the White House where global leaders waited. What the world didn't see, what the hegemony didn't know, was that this very public meeting was merely a distraction. 600,000 kilometers away, shrouded in the shadow of Jupiter's moon Callisto, Commander Elena Velas and her team of 12 UEDF special operators boarded their stealth craft, the Shadow Dancer. The vessel represented Earth's most advanced technology that had been deliberately kept secret from all public records and transmissions that might have been intercepted by hegemony surveillance. "Stealth systems at maximum," Lieutenant Rajiv Singh reported from the pilot's chair. "We're invisible to any known detection methods." Elena nodded. "Plot intercept course with the hegemony forward outpost on Ganymede. Execute when ready." The Shadow Dancer detached from its docking bay without a sound, its hull absorbing rather than reflecting radar and lidar signals. Its propulsion system, based on gravitational manipulation rather than conventional thrust, left no exhaust plume to track. Calm silence from this point forward. Alina instructed her team. According to our intelligence, the Ganymede outpost is lightly staffed, mostly automated systems and data collection. Their arrogance works in our favor. They don't expect resistance, let alone a counterattack. The 12 operators checked their weapons and equipment. Unlike the bulky power armor depicted in popular entertainment, their combat suits were sleek, form-fitting exoskeletons that enhanced strength and speed while maintaining maximum mobility. Each operator carried modular weapon systems capable of adapting to various threat scenarios. 4 minutes to intercept, Singh announced quietly. Alina studied the holographic display of the Hegemony outpost. It was a small facility, established 3 years ago when the Hegemony first entered the solar system. Earth's various space agencies had detected unusual readings from Ganymede, but had publicly attributed them to natural phenomena, all while secretly monitoring the alien presence. Remember, Alina told her team, our primary objective is data extraction. We need to confirm what we suspect about the Hegemony's true purpose for incorporating new species. Secondary objective is to plant the quantum transponders for Project Prometheus. Casualties are acceptable but not preferred. We want them confused, not vengeful. The shadow dancer settled silently onto Ganymede's surface, half a kilometer from the Hegemony outpost. The facility resembled an iridescent dome, its surface shifting colors slightly as it processed the meager sunlight reaching this distance from the sun. Atmosphere readings normal for Hegemony standards, reported Specialist Zhang, the team's xenobiologist. Their environment is breathable for us in short durations, but they prefer higher nitrogen content. Breach team, move out, Alina ordered. 4 operators exited the craft, their suits maintaining internal pressure against Ganymede's thin atmosphere. They moved with practiced efficiency toward the outpost, deploying sensor countermeasures at regular intervals. Alina watched through their helmet feeds as they approached the facility's only entrance. Security systems identified. Lieutenant Yasmin Al-Fahim reported. Standard Hegemony protocols. Deploying override sequence now. The team had trained for years against simulated Hegemony security systems, based on fragments of data collected from long-range observations and intercepted transmissions. Their preparations were about to be tested. Al-Fahim placed a small device against the entrance's control panel. The device illuminated briefly, then the panel flashed green. The door slid open silently. "We're in," she whispered. Alina checked the mission clock. 14 minutes until the diplomatic meeting in Washington reaches the presentation of terms. Proceed quickly. The breach team moved through the outpost corridors with practiced stealth. They encountered only 2 Hegemony technicians, both of whom were swiftly incapacitated with targeted neural disruptors that would leave them unconscious but otherwise unharmed. Central data hub located, Al-Fahim reported. Beginning extraction process. While the lieutenant worked on downloading the facility's data, the other team members planted quantum transponders at strategic locations throughout the outpost. These devices, no larger than a fingernail, would serve as the eyes and ears of Project Prometheus when the time came. Extraction complete, Al-Fahim announced after several tense minutes. You should be receiving the data stream now, Commander. Alina watched as information began flowing across her tactical display. Complex alien code rapidly translated into comprehensible format thanks to the AI systems integrated into the shadow dancer's computers. My God, she breathed as the truth of the Hegemony's operations became clear. Xenobiological harvesting. They're not just taking resources and conscripts. They're harvesting genetic material from each species they subjugate. The data revealed the Hegemony's true purpose for incorporating new civilizations. They extracted unique biological traits from each species, integrating them into their own genome to enhance their capabilities. Humanity's particular appeal was our adaptive immune system and cognitive flexibility, traits the hierarchical Hegemony had sacrificed in favor of specialized functions millennia ago. "We've got movement," Singh warned. "Large vessel breaking orbit from the Hegemony mothership, headed toward Ganymede. ETA 20 minutes. Breach team, complete your objectives and return immediately," Alina ordered. As the team made their way back through the facility, Specialist Zhang paused at an unmarked door. "Commander, I'm detecting multiple life signs behind this barrier. Non-hegemony biosignatures." Alina hesitated. Rescuing potential prisoners wasn't part of the mission parameters, but she couldn't ignore the implications. "Open it," she decided. Quickly, Zhang bypassed the security lock, and the door slid open to reveal a horrifying sight. Dozens of containment pods, each holding a different alien being. Biometric monitors attached to each pod extracted various fluids and tissue samples from the subjects. "These must be specimens from other subjugated worlds," Zhang whispered, her voice tight with controlled anger. "They're being harvested." Alina made a split-second decision. "Release them. All of them. Singh, prepare the shadow dancer for maximum capacity." "Commander, that's well beyond our mission parameters," Singh objected. "These are political prisoners and victims of illegal experimentation," Alina replied firmly. "And they're coming with us. The President will understand when she sees what the hegemony really is." As Zhang and Alpha Him worked to deactivate the stasis pods, Alina opened a secure channel to Earth. "Madam President, Operation Trojan has yielded critical intelligence and unexpected assets. Request immediate activation of Phase 2. President Okafor's voice came through clearly. "Understood, Commander. The diplomatic meeting is proceeding as expected. The hegemony delegation is currently presenting their non-negotiable terms. Phase 2 will commence upon your signal." Alina looked at the freed prisoners. 15 different species, all weakened but alive, all victims of the hegemony's true agenda. "Signal incoming in approximately 30 minutes, she replied. "And Madam President, we're bringing guests." The reckoning. In the White House's East Room, the hegemony delegation stood before the assembled leaders of Earth with the supreme confidence of those who had never known refusal. The Lesser Archon, who had introduced himself as Sub-Archon Krelvor, finished outlining the terms of Earth's subjugation. "These terms are standard for all primitive worlds." Krelvor clicked, the translation software rendering his condescension perfectly. "You will find the hegemony to be fair masters, so long as tribute is delivered promptly and without complication." President Okafor listened with an expression of polite interest that revealed nothing of her true thoughts. The other world leaders maintained similar facades, a united front carefully orchestrated in the years of secret preparation for this moment. "We appreciate your thoroughness," President Okafor replied diplomatically. "Before we present our formal response, might I ask about the other species who have joined your hegemony? We are curious about our potential new neighbors in the galactic community." The Sub-Archon's faceted eyes gleamed with amusement. "Most are of little consequence. They provide resources, labor, and occasionally other contributions. None have achieved the status of true hegemony members, of course. That privilege is reserved for the founding species alone." "I see," the President nodded thoughtfully. "And how many worlds have refused your generous offer of incorporation?" Krelvor's mandibles clicked in what the human translators recognized as laughter. "None have been so foolish. Primitive species recognize superior power when confronted with it." President Okafor checked her secure communicator briefly, then smiled. "Perhaps today will be educational for us all. Then, we have prepared a response to your terms." She nodded to her aide, who activated the room's display system. Instead of the expected diplomatic agreement, the screen showed the shadow dancer landing at the heavily secured Andrews Air Force Base, where Commander Velez and her team were disembarking alongside their rescued alien prisoners. The Sub-Archon's posture shifted instantly from arrogant ease to rigid alertness. "What is the meaning of this?" "This," President Okafor said, her voice now hard as steel, "is humanity's response to your terms. While you've been presenting your non-negotiable demands, We've been extracting data from your Ganymede outpost and liberating the victims of your biological harvesting program." The hegemony officials chittered rapidly in their native language, their composure shattered. "Impossible," Krelvor hissed. "Your species has no technology capable of breaking your security systems, evading your sensors." The president smiled coldly. "You should have studied us more carefully before assuming we were primitive. Humanity has a long history of appearing less advanced than we truly are when facing potential threats." On the screen, medical teams were treating the freed aliens while Commander Velas approached a podium set up for an impromptu global address. "People of Earth," Elena began, her voice broadcasting to every nation. "For 15 years, the United Earth Defense Force has been preparing for this day. We detected the hegemony's presence at the edge of our solar system and realized their intentions. Rather than reveal our awareness, we used that time to develop countermeasures while presenting the appearance of a divided, technologically limited world." The subarchon's mandibles clicked furiously. "This deception will not save you. The Grand Archon will obliterate your civilization for this insult." President Okafor regarded him calmly. "I don't think so. Commander, please proceed with Phase 2. On every screen across the planet, the view shifted to space, where something impossible was happening. Throughout the solar system, in the asteroid belt, emerging from behind moons, rising from seemingly abandoned mining stations, hundreds of warships were decloaking. Earth's secret fleet, built in the shadows over 15 years of unified global effort, revealed itself in a display of power that sent a clear message to the hegemony. As you can see, President Okafor continued, Earth is not defenseless. Far from it. We have prepared extensively for this encounter. But unlike the hegemony, we do not seek domination. We offer you a choice. Leave our solar system in peace, or face the consequences of your aggression. The subarchon's composure completely collapsed. This is unprecedented. The Grand Archon will never. His protest was interrupted by an incoming communication from the hegemony mothership. Grand Archon Vex Mora appeared on screen, his elaborate carapace markings pulsing with what humans now recognized as extreme agitation. You dare to threaten the hegemony? Vex Mora rage. Your pitiful fleet is nothing against our power. Your deception will be punished with extinction. President Okafor remained unmoved. We anticipated this response, Archon Vex Mora. That's why we've already deployed our defensive systems. As if on cue, alarms began blaring aboard the hegemony mothership. The Grand Archon turned away from the communication, chittering urgent commands to his subordinates. What you're experiencing, Elena explained from her position at Andrews Air Force Base, is Project Prometheus, a network of quantum-entangled nanites that we've introduced into your systems via the transponders placed in your Ganymede outpost. They're not destroying your ship, merely neutralizing your offensive capabilities. On screens worldwide, people watched as the massive hegemony vessel's weapon systems powered down. Its engines flared erratically, then stabilized at minimal output. The Predator had been declawed. Unlike you, President Okafor said to the now silent subarchon, we do not seek to harvest or subjugate other species. The aliens your hegemony has imprisoned and experimented upon will find sanctuary on Earth if they wish it, or passage to their homeworlds if possible. Grand Archon Vex Mora, his arrogance replaced by cold fury, addressed the humans directly. For 8,000 cycles, the hegemony has ruled the stars. You cannot hope to stand against the full might of our empire. Elena stepped forward again on the broadcast. Perhaps not yet, but we won't have to face you alone. She gestured to the freed aliens standing behind her. You've created enemies throughout the galaxy with your incorporations. We've already begun sharing our Prometheus technology with the representatives here. Soon, every world under your boot will have the means to break free. The implications weren't lost on the hegemony leaders. Their entire empire, built on the subjugation of dozens of species across hundreds of worlds, now faced an existential threat. If Earth could resist them, worse, If Earth could help others resist, the hegemony's days of unopposed domination were over. These are our terms, President Okafor stated firmly. The hegemony will withdraw from Earth's solar system immediately. You will release all captive species and cease your biological harvesting program. You will recognize Earth and its allies as sovereign and independent powers, not subject to your authority. Failure to comply will result in the widespread deployment of Prometheus technology to every world in your empire. The sub-Archon looked to his Grand Archon for guidance, his mandibles quivering. After a long silence, Grand Archon Vex Morris spoke, his voice now lacking its earlier superiority. You have won this confrontation, humans, but the hegemony is vast, and our memory is long. This setback will not be forgotten. Nor will your crimes against sentient beings, President Okafor replied. Your mothership systems will be released once you've cleared the orbit of Neptune. Consider yourself fortunate that humanity values diplomacy over vengeance, at least for now. As the hegemony delegation was escorted back to their shuttle, the sub-Archon paused before President Okafor. In 8,000 cycles, no species has ever defied us successfully. How? How did you achieve this? The president smiled. The hegemony's mistake was studying our technology, but not our history. Humanity has faced existential threats before, from nature, from ourselves, from the very universe. We've learned to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best, and we've learned that true strength comes not from domination, but from cooperation. Later, as the hegemony mothership limped away from Earth's solar system, Commander Elena Velas stood beside President Okafor in the UEDF headquarters, watching the vessels retreat on the tracking systems. They'll be back, Elena said quietly. Maybe not tomorrow or next year, but eventually. The hegemony won't abandon 8,000 years of expansion because of one defeat. No, they won't, the president agreed. But we won't be alone when they return. Already, representatives from 7 of the species you rescued have expressed interest in formal alliances. The hegemony wanted Earth's submission. Instead, they've catalyzed the formation of the first genuine galactic coalition of equals. Elena nodded, her gaze still fixed on the retreating hegemony ship. They demanded tribute, she said softly. Instead, we delivered a reckoning. Across the solar system, Earth's hidden fleet remained vigilant, a testament to humanity's determination to forge its own destiny among the stars. And throughout the galaxy, on worlds long subjugated by the hegemony, word began to spread of the species that had done the impossible, the humans who had said no and made it stick. The Galactic Council had wanted tribute. Humanity had delivered something else entirely.